Good afternoon and welcome to everybody to our webinar today. It's going to be a really good webinar. Not everybody likes blogging, but I quite like writing about my business and writing about myself, so I love it. And it brings a lot of benefits to you, to your business, to your customers and to clients. And it's just a great way really to spread the word about you in your business. So today, obviously, as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about WordPress, and there's already a question posted here which says, what is WordPress? Well, WordPress, excuse me, is just a blogging platform, and there's lots of different blogging platforms out there. This just happens to be one of the most popular ones. It's a lot more flexible than some of the other blogging platforms out there, and there's lots of what we call plugins, and we're going to be talking about those a little later on today, and that will help, the plugins that is, will help with the flexibility of your site. So what we're going to be covering today, we're going to be looking at number one, domain names. We're going to be looking at hosting. And just to get on there, when we talk about domain names, that's when we'll be bringing the keywords back to play that we talked about. Hosting is effectively just where you're going to put the site to make sure that you can actually then build a website. We're then going to be talking about themes, which is effectively how does that website or that blog look and feel. And then we're going to talk about post versus pages, and we'll certainly touch on that a lot more next week when we do about content, and content is king. But we're just going to touch on what's the difference between a post and what's the difference between a page. Then we're going to look at plugins, and then we're going to look at widgets. So effectively, by the end of play today, or by the end of this hour, we're going to have gone from actually not having a blog, not even having a domain name. So we're going to show you how to buy a domain name, and by the end of the call, we'll have actually built a WordPress blog. So, you know, if we can do that in an hour, it just shows you how easy it actually is. So hopefully that's going to be really, really useful for everybody on the call. Now, there's a lot of information to cover, so we're not going to be able to get to all your questions, unfortunately, because I need to move through at quite a pace. And if there's any question, as per normal, email or ring, and either myself or one of my associates will get back to you with the answers. And yes, there are going to be links for all of the stuff we talk about today, and there will be a replay coming out hopefully Friday, possibly Monday, just depending on workload. So what we'll do is we'll post all the links on that replay page. So if we get into, excuse me, just don't know what little anomaly. If we get into the domain names, then the first thing we're going to do, excuse me, is search for a domain name. So what we need to do is look for an appropriate domain name, and the way we do it is we utilize a site called domainsforlocalbusiness.com, and we're going to shoot over there in a short while. And then once we've gone to this particular site, the next thing that you need to do is find your company name, if you can, or a keyword name. So if you're called ABC Plumbers, for example, you want to try and find abcplumbers.com. if that's possible. If you can't find that, then you're looking for a keyword, as we said, plumbers in Manchester, manchesterplumbers.com. So let's just go to the site, which looks like this. I'm just going to take you to the site now. Let me just see if I can get there. So we are here. I want to go here. There we go. So this is what the site looks like, domainsforlocalbusiness.com. I'm already logged in, but you can, as always, you can sign up once you get here. It's very easy. But what you'd do is you'd come to domainsforlocalbusiness.com, and then in here, you're then going to type in whatever business it is that you have. So I'm going to look for octagonwealth.com. Okay? And then you click search. It's as simple as that. That's all you have to do. And then hopefully it'll connect up. Always takes a bit of time, which is always irritating when you're doing something live, but such is the way of the world. So here you go, octagonwealth.com. As you can see, it says here octagonwealth.com is already registered. I know that because I've actually registered it. But yeah, it says octagonwealth.com, and if it wasn't registered, it would drop down here, you'd add it, and then you'd continue on to checkout, and that's as difficult as it is. Now, the interesting thing here is that what I would always say, and what I always recommend companies to do, is number one, take your keyword or your company name, as I've said, try and put it in there. Always get a .com domain. where you can. Now, what it says here is, okay, .com is gone. You've got an opportunity to take .co, .net, .org, .info. I would actually suggest that you don't take any of those and that you'd go back in and say, actually, okay, if that one's taken, let me see if there's anything else that isn't taken. So Octagon Wealth Management, for example. So octagonwealthmanagement.com. You're then going to search for that particular one, and then we'll see, congratulations, octagonwealthmanagement.com is available. You then click add to that, and then you just continue to check out. And that's, yeah, actually, I'm just going to checkout. So you can see, don't click any of those. You can click them if you want, but I'm just not going to bother. And it shows here, snap it up, just $10.99. Total is $11.17, and that's it. You've basically bought a domain name, and that's as simple as it is. And I think I just wanted to go through that so you could see how simple it was. You've got octagonwealthmanagement.com. Wealth management is one of my keywords. Octagon Wealth Management is actually the name of the organization. So you've killed two birds with one stone, and it's really useful. Now, in the past, we've emphasized keywords. And we still can emphasize keywords because for Bing, as we discussed, I think last week, then they like keyword-rich domain names. Google aren't as concerned about keyword-rich domain names. But back to the .com, the reason why I say that it's important to have .com is because if you think about it, .com is just a very well-known extension for a website. So even if you bought a .net or a .co.uk or a something else, when you leave that person, when you've given that name to your client or you've spoken to a prospect and you've said, yeah, what's your website name? And you said, this is my website name, it's octagonwealth.net. The chances are that by the time they've gone home or they've gone back to the office or whatever they've done, they've forgotten the .net bit and they'll just type in octagonwealth.com. Now, the issue there is if somebody else has a decent site called octagonwealth.com, you've almost lost that customer potential because once they get on there, they'll start looking around that site. So the whole point about a domain name is that you want it to be easy to remember, and you want that people, when they even are struggling to remember, they know that you're called Octagon Wealth, so they say, oh, just octagonwealth.com, etc. Same thing with, don't put hyphens in there because some people will put in hyphens like octagon hyphen wealthmanagement.com because octagonwealthmanagement.com is not available. For the same reasons, don't do it. Try always to ensure that you can get the .com domain, and as I showed you there, if the actual domain name that you want isn't available, just try a variation. So I did octagonwealth.com, it was taken. I just searched again for octagonwealthmanagement.com, and that's what you want to do to ensure that you get the right domain name, and actually you're then ensuring that you're going to get found and in the search terms quite easily. Okay, so that's the domain name. It's simple as that. Go to that website, domainforlocalbusiness.com. Once you've got the domain name, then you have to go to the hosting. And we use a hosting, or we recommend a hosting, and we do use it, called HostGator, and that's HostGator there. What we always say is use a hosting site with a cPanel. So even if you decided that you didn't want to use HostGator because you've got something else, that's not a problem. But always, I suggest, make sure it's got a cPanel. And the reason why we recommend the cPanel is quite simple, is that it makes it very, very easy for someone like yourself or like me that's not a programmer, that's not technically gifted. We're not techies, and even when you're not a programmer, if you've got cPanel, you can still go in there and make some changes. You can set up an email account, and we're going to show you then from the cPanel how you would then also load your WordPress site on there and your WordPress blog on there, etc. And therefore, the cPanel is just really a nice place. It's called a control panel, so it's nothing sophisticated, and it just means that there's really basic things in there, and it tells you exactly what you need to do, so it's really good. Now, a question that I often get asked is, well, hang on, WordPress.com is free. So why would we buy a domain name? Why would we, start getting hosting? Can't we just set up use that free blogging platform, WordPress.com? Well, the answer is yes. We would suggest that you don't do it if you're a professional, and obviously you are because you're a local business on this call. And the reason why we say don't do it, even though it is free, is number one, it's really inexpensive to get hosting and a domain name. As we've just shown you, $10.99, and that's dollars, so that's what, £7. Then you can see here the plans, range from $3.96 up to $10.36 again in dollars. So you're not spending much money. So for what, £7 and then what, £5 a month, you can have your own domain name and hosting. And the reason why it's important to have your own domain name and hosting is that you own it. If you use a WordPress.com site, you don't own it. WordPress own it. And whilst I've not seen it ever happen, once somebody else owns your domain name, effectively, then, if there's changes or if they decide that you've done something that you shouldn't have done, they could potentially take that site down, and you don't want that when you're a business owner, obviously. Not only that, if you have a WordPress.com name, then the WordPress.com, or should I say your domain name, will be something like WordPress.com/OctagonWealthManagement.com. WordPress.com/OctagonWealthManagement, not with a .com on the end. So, as we just talked about, what you're trying to do is ensure that your domain name is memorable, that people can remember what that domain name is, and there's no issue in remembering what that domain name is. Once you start adding things like WordPress.com on, I mean, we've just talked about not putting hyphens and not having .co.uk, and now you put WordPress.com. That makes it a lot more difficult to remember. So, for any of those reasons I've just mentioned, we would suggest that you always get a domain name and always get hosting. Okay, so this is where we would take you for the hosting. It's trainingforlocalbusiness.com/HostGator. And once you've signed up for the training for local, the HostGator hosting account, should I say, then you'll be emailed what we call name servers and name server address. You'll get an email. You'll log in. You'll sign up. You'll pay for your hosting package. You'll determine which hosting package you're going to have. And then what you'll find then is that you'll get an email which will confirm everything that you've done, and it'll have your name servers. And we're going to tell you what you need to then do with those name servers shortly. I'm not going to go to HostGator because there's no real reason for it, because it's just it just basically shows this. And if you type in HostGator into your search bar, you'll get it. But basically, this is what you'll get: HostGator web hosting. The 3 different types here. You've got the hatchling plan. So if you've just got a blog, you've got nothing else, you've just got a blog, that's the only thing that you want to do, or you've just got one website where you're going to have a blog integrated into it, then you'll go for the single domain, which is the $3.96 a month. If you have more than one domain, so say for example you've got 2 or 3 blogs that you want to run, then you'd go for the unlimited domains, and that's the baby plan, $6.36 a month. Then and I've only ever, unless you're selling something online, are you selling a product or something like that, or you're taking payments online is more accurate, then you don't need the business plan. But if you are selling something online and you're going to be taking payments, then you're going to want a business plan, because you get a private SSL certificate. So you're getting a security certificate, which is basically showing that you're trusted, and then people will feel confident and they'll give you payments. So that's it. So once you've then gone on there, you'll just sign up for your account. When you've signed up for your account, then you then have to change. You then have to basically use the name servers that you will get from this hosting package, and you have to put them into the GoDaddy that we discussed. So I'll just show you how to do that. So to ensure that it's working, so you'd come back to your GoDaddy account, which you'll have signed up for by then. You'll then come into your domain names here. So this is just the opening screen. You just drop down here, it say domain names. You click in domain names there. And then that'll show you all the domain names that you have. If you can see down here, for this particular account, I've got Octagon Wealth, Training for Local Business, Purely Cats. We're just going to click on OctagonWealth.com. I'll tell you about the Purely Cats someday in the future. So you've got that. You've ticked on there. Then you go into here, Name Servers. And then you say Set Name Servers. Okay? Now, I've already changed these, but when you've bought a new domain name, you will have, I think, GoDaddy servers in here. So what you want to do then is come to your control panel, and as I said, don't worry, all of the information in terms of where your control panel is will be in your welcome email from HostGator. So let me just recap very quickly. You've got your domain name. You then sign up for your hosting. You'll then get an email from your hosting company saying these are your domain servers, this is your control panel information. You then come to your control panel. Okay? And I'm going to just log out so you can actually see what the control panel looks like. So this is what your control panel, when you put your information in, your control panel will look like that. You'll then log in and you'll be taken to that screen. So remember, if for whatever reason I don't know why you would, but if for whatever reason you don't know where your name servers are in the email, or that would be very obvious, when you come to the control panel, just as a backup, your name servers are down. Where's it gone? Yes, there we go. Thought so. Your name servers are down here. So if you notice, that's those name servers. All you'd do then is you'd copy and paste it out of here, or you'd copy and paste it out of your email. You'd go back into here, and then you'd just take these, you'd click Edit Name Servers, and then you'd just copy and paste those name servers into here. Okay? So it's as simple as that. Once you've done that, you don't need to do anything else with your domain apart from remember that it expires now a year from today. So I think mine's set up as auto renew, so it's not a problem because it'll automatically renew and it'll tell you when it's renewing. So once that's done, your domain is yours. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to worry about it. That's done. You can. It's almost set and forget. So coming into your control panel, then you would then, once you're in your control panel, you're here. Okay. You fly down here, and whatever name that you put in your domain name when you were signing up to HostGator would be in here, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else if you've got a single domain. If you have more than one domain, because you may well do, then what you'd do is you'd fly down here. So you've got, say, 2 domains. So let's say you've got octagonwealth.com. So octagonwealth.com would be in here. Then you'd then say, okay, I've now got octagonwealthmanagement.com. What you'd come down to this domains here, and you'd put add-on domains, which is there, and then you just put Octagon Wealth Management.com. I mean, I've not bought that, so I'm not going to put it in. You'd then put your password in there, you'd add domain, you put a password in, and that would be that. Okay? And then you just put add domain, and then that'll drop down here. Now, I've already added, so you can see all these add-on domains that I've added to those, to that overarching domain. And if you drop down here, there's the octagonwealth.com that we're going to be working with that I've added on. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Again, any questions, feel free to come and email me, or there's going to be links, and the replay is going to be there, so it shouldn't be a massive issue. So let me just go back to the slide again, just to give you an update to where we are. So what you're going to do is you're going to set the name servers on domain, as we said. You're then going to add on domains if you've got a package with more than one domain. If you haven't got more than one domain, you don't need to do anything. And then we're going to go back into it again. So I'm jumping around a bit, but I think it's important to make sure that you can see where we are. Then we're going to go cPanel, which is that cPanel, and we're going to go quick install and install the WordPress. So at this stage, just as a little recap, we've got the domain name. Once we've got the domain name, we've then gone to the HostGator to get your hosting. And the reason why we're doing it in this order is because when you get your hosting, the hosting is going to ask you for your domain name, so you have to have the domain name first. Once you've got the domain name, you've signed up for your hosting, you'll get an email from HostGator which will then tell you your name server, that'll give you cPanel information. You then take that name server information, go back to the domains for local business. You set the name servers. Once you set the name servers, you don't need to do anything else with that. And then you go into your host panel, and then you add on the domain if required, and then you're pretty much good to go. You've got all your name servers set up. You've got your domain names, and then we want to then add in the WordPress site. So I'm now going to go and show you how to add in a WordPress site. As I said, the reason why it's important. You probably start to see now why it's so important that you have a cPanel, because this is really easy stuff. So you come back to your cPanel. No coding or anything necessary to set up your WordPress site. You come here, you click Quick Install. Yep. Then down here on the left, you've got WordPress. That's it. Continue. It then tells you effectively here which is the site that you want to add in. You just scroll down till you see the name of your site, octagonwealth.com. You put in your admin email. What's the admin email? Info at Octagon Wealth, we'll call it. And I'm going to show you how to set up that, because it's not automatically set up, but it's very easy to set up. So I'll show you how to set that up. Admin user, sorry, blog title. So wealth management. I'll just put wealth management, can't spell at the moment. So wealth management services, admin user, I'm just going to put admin. And then I'm going to put and that's it. So all you've done is you put your admin email in, you put your blog title in, you've put, what you want to be known as in terms of admin, your first name, your last name, and then quite simply you click install now. And let me just see if my Octagon citations list is available, because what we're going to do, what happens when this is done, and that's it, less than 30 seconds, you've had your site made. I'm going to take this password here, because it's created automatically. You can change that, but no necessity. So if I go back into there, the reason why I pulled this up is because I want to scroll down here, and this is my blog. Just create that there, copy and paste that in there so you know what it is, so that you can remember it. Make sure all that information there. Then if I click on here, this will take me to the admin area of my site, and just click on there. There we go. You've created your first blog. Ta-da! You've got this is the admin area, this is the back end area, and again you'll see now why we suggest make sure you get something with a cPanel, nice and easy. You've created your first blog, and in a matter of minutes. Then when you come into your admin area, you'll see in the admin area, the back end of the admin area is really simple. Not sure what's happened there, but let's go there. And that's why you always copy and paste that password, just in case something happens. You've got the password, and then we've got this is your dashboard area. It's got all the information at the back end. What we're going to do, I'm just going to go quickly back to the slides, and then I'm pretty much, I think, going to spend most of the time after that just in the site. So the first thing we're going to do when we come to the site, and I'm going to go through it, is we're going to go through the settings. There's a general setting which we're going to go into and just talk you through that. There's a writing setting. There is a reading setting as well, which we're going to go through. Then the discussions, and then you've got permalinks, and we're going to go into all of those five things, go through them one by one on the site so that you can actually see how and what we do with them. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of building the site, the themes, etc., etc. So if I go back to the site, so the first thing that you want to come into here is settings, as I said. Go into general. Then what you'll find is, because we've already set up the site, then some of the information that we put in is already there. So the site title is there, Wealth Management Services. Tagline, just another WordPress site. So you just put whatever tagline that you want in there. Best IFAs in the UK, for example. Excuse me. Then that's your WordPress URL. So that's your site address. That's the WordPress and the site address are obviously the same. That's the info at Octagon Wealth Management, or sorry, octagonwealth.com. And actually, I'm going to go back in just a second and show you how to create that. Then you have membership. Don't need to change any of that. And then this is just how do you want the date format to view. Week starts, and I just save changes. To be honest, I generally don't change anything there at all. So you've saved that. Then you go into your writing, and this is how everything's going to look. Uncategorized, we're going to talk about post categories shortly, so don't worry about that, but you can set that to whatever post category. At the moment, the only category you've got in there is uncategorized, but what you want to do is put some more categories in there, and the categories you'll put in there will be based around your keywords, so that you can then start writing posts around specific keywords. It's good for Google, it's good for ensuring that you get your SEO rankings, and then you can automatically say, yeah, I know I'm going to be writing predominantly on pension management, so therefore my default post category is going to be pension management. You can obviously change it when you put the post in. Then again, I don't tend to change any of this because it's pretty much set up fine. That's your login name, password, etc. Sorry, this is just about when someone's posting the information that they're going to put in. So don't really change anything around there. And then you just save it if you do decide to change, but I pretty much leave everything as is. Then reading, then if you come down straight to here, then this is really just saying how long do you want your blog to look. If you want it to have 10 posts, you put 10. If you want it to show 5 because you want it to be nice and short before you do that, you put that in. If you want the article to show the full text, you put it in, summary, or self-explanatory. This one, it just needs a bit more explanation. Then when you get to your home page, then you can either have it showing your latest posts, which will just mean it's active. So every time a new post comes, the home page is where it'll be shown, and it'll just keep flicking through. So you can have that, or you can have a static page, so that you say, actually, I want my home page not to have I want my blog to be separate from that in terms of where the posts go, but the home page, I just want that to be information about our organisation. Then you'd have a static page, and then you just select, say, sample. We said that our email address was info@octagonwealth.com. So I'm just going to come back into my cPanel, scroll to the top, so let's go back to the cPanel. So this is what I'm saying, it's really simple to use a cPanel, very nice. Then you're going to scroll down to the bottom, well, not quite to the bottom, but you're going to see, where's it gone? I think it says mail services, mail, so it's virtually at the top. So you go into mail, go into your email account. This is as simple as it is. You then drop down here. You look for your account, i.e. your domain name. You see octagonwealth.com not there. You click on that and you just type in whatever it is that you want, info@octagonwealth.com. You then put in whatever password you want. There you go. Create account. I might have already created one of these accounts, so okay, it already exists. So what we'll do is support. Who loves live webinars, eh? So you create an account. What's today's is? I'm forgetting everything. And this is the great thing about cPanel. Anytime you do something, it'll actually tell you down here, info@Octagon Wealth Management already exists. You didn't put your password in, so it's all super simple. So it's great. There you go. Support@Octagon Wealth is now created. You would then click down here. I've got a lot of emails here. So support@octagonwealth.com is created. If you click on here, access webmail, so you can actually access it through the web, or if you have, your internal client server, so it's Outlook or whatever it may be, click on that configure email client, and it'll allow you to then put it into your Outlook so that your account will be there. Now, the question always people ask is, oh yeah, but I've now got that email account. What about, I've got my email account, I've got support at whatever it may be, etc. I can't be monitoring them all the time. So what we say is, everyone knows about forwarding rules, and setting up a forwarding rule is super easy. You just come down to this mail again, click on forwarders, and again, I keep reiterating, this is why it's so important to get something with a cPanel. So you come in here, you then go into add a forwarder. Really very simple. Drop down here again. You go to your Octagon Wealth Management. You plug in there support, because that's the one you just set up. Put in support, and then you just put in, okay, so what's the forwarding address you want? Hakeem@handassociates.com. Add forwarder. Forwarder should drop down. And it says here now, support@octagonwealth.com will now be copied to Hakeem@handassociates.com. So therefore, you'll never miss another email from support@octagonwealth.com without having to chase and follow and keep plugging in to see if something has been sent to that particular account. So there you are. You've set up your email. You've set up your accounts. So I'm now going to get back into the settings. I just wanted to mention that because I said I was going to. Okay, so you got your reading. You've done that. You've saved the changes. You then go into discussion. And again, this is just like the settings of when people are when people are posting replies, etc. So all this stuff, attempt to notify any blogs linked from the article. Allow people to post comments on new articles, of course. Yes, you want people to get involved. Actually, I say that, I do, but you may have a business where actually you just want to post information, but you don't want people to be able to reply, and they have to reply to you by actually emailing you. So that may be what you want to do. Anyone can post on that comment. So again, email me whenever anyone posts on a comment if they do, so that you're actually informed of what's going on. And that's why it's important to make sure that you put in the right email in there. And if you call, we put info, and that's then forwarded to my email, so that time anyone posts, it comes to us. A comment is held for moderation. Oh, sorry, that's not what I want to say. Before a comment appears, comment must be manually approved. That's more work, but it means that actually, if someone tries to put some stuff on there, especially considering it's your business, if people start trying to put stuff on there which is not particularly pleasant about you, or you've got a competitor who decides to indulge in espionage, then you'll actually see the comment before that comment is posted. So I always tick that. I always want to know that what's going on, unless I've got a blog which is super popular, and I'm getting hundreds a day, and even in those cases, I'll probably still tick that box, and I'll get somebody else. I'll get one of my staff to be actually the email that's forwarded to, so they can be answered. Because the whole point of a blog is that you're talking about your business and you want to get interactive. You want people to know who you are, so you do as much as possible want people to be interacting with you. Then, as you said, just go around there. It's all really simple, so I'm not going to go for everything. And then again, click Save Changes, and you're good to go. So then we're going to go into permalinks. Now, what is permalinks? Permalinks effectively is what is going to be shown in this URL up here. It's basically showing you the name of it. So I've currently got here octagon.wealth, sample post. So that would be this is how my URL would be shown when I'm on that post or that page. So I, more often than not, actually, I use the day or the name, or I'll just use that. So if my post is pension wealth management, or about pension wealth management, then it'd be octagonwealth.com/pension wealth management. And the good thing about that is that you're then getting your keywords in your permalink structure. So when you're sharing your link, it's got your name in it, or your domain name in it, and then it's also got your keyword name. We're going to talk about that a bit more later. And then just save changes. So if you've made any changes, that is. If you haven't made any changes, then you don't need to. So that's pretty much the first part of what you do. As soon as you come in, just go in there, make sure everything's set up as you'd hope it to be. And I'm just going to show you what the site looks like currently. You just come to the top, so you can see that we've actually made a site. So all of that information we put in there. Sample page is the page where we said that we're going to be, is your home page. Wealth management services is what we put when we set up the site in HostGator from the cPanel. Best IFAs in the UK is where I put as my tagline. And this is just a very basic theme. So this is called a theme, these little bubbles here and the way the page is structured. And that's what we're going to go and talk about next. Okay? So, back to the presentation. So we've done all the settings: general, writing, reading, discussion, permalinks. Then we're going to go into themes. As I said, this is another type of theme. So this is the good thing about WordPress, is that you can select from a number of different themes, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to actually select from those existing themes. Then I'm going to show you how to actually search the theme, because obviously, as I showed you, then we've got that very basic theme. Very few people I know stick with that theme, although sometimes you do. So you want to look at how you can search for a theme. How do I find a theme that looks like the one on the screen at the moment? Then I want to talk to you about free themes, because a lot of the themes that you come with WordPress are free, so you can get some really good themes and you don't have to pay for them. So it's another reason to use WordPress. But of course, you may not be able to find the theme you want, and if you can't find the theme you want, then there's premium paid themes. So I'm going to talk about that. And then you want to create a custom banner. And a custom banner is effectively this. So whatever theme you have, I would assume that you have pictures of your own. And good advice here is you might want to take some of the pictures that you've already been putting on your listings if they are appropriate. And then you want to create a custom banner here, so when people come here, it looks nice, effectively. So that's what we're going to do. Excuse me, that's what we're going to do. So whatever theme you get, I would always say get that custom banner made, and I'll talk a bit more about that. So to get back to the dashboard, just hover over here because you're in the admin panel, click dashboard, and away we go. So when we come to themes, to get to themes, come to the appearance bar down here in the dashboard, click on themes, and that's what I'm saying. I know I keep reiterating it, but the more you use it, the simpler you realize it is. It's absolutely great. So all you have to do there is, if you've got manage theme there, go to install themes, and that will tell you the themes that you've actually got and you want to search for. So you then come down here. Let's say, for example, your company colors are blue. There we go. And let's say yellow. So this, why is it not clicking? Then just click search. And as you can see there, it comes back with 951 items. And all you do here is you just scroll down, and you just keep looking and say, yeah, like that, interesting, like that, don't like that, effectively. And what you've got here, which is it's not super new, but it's probably happened in the last year or so, then what you can see here is you've got mobile friendly themes. And we talked about mobile friendly sites. We talked about the fact that actually mobile is really big. So I mean, it might not look great, but I'm going to install that there just because it's a mobile friendly theme. So you put install now, then you can say live preview. Okay, and this is basically saying this is what it's going to look like. And obviously, as I said, whatever theme you get, always stick in a custom header, and we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to save that and activate it, just because, no particular reason. So site tagline, so everything's in there. And then, all of these, then there's loads of other options that you can come in and start adding and messing about with it, so it's great. So I'm not going to do anything of that at the moment. And let's put save options, okay? So if you then come back to the site, this is now my site. So you can see how it's changed. I've not done a huge amount of stuff to it. It's really been, just clicked, to add a theme. I've added a theme in, and that is pretty much as hard as it is. So you've added the theme. Now, if you went through, and these are all free themes, by the way, if you went through those free themes and you thought, actually, I can't think and I can't find any theme that I particularly like, then all you do is come to Google and then you'd put in and actually, let's put in paid. So you just come down, click on one of the premium themes, scroll down, and then you'll see, oh, there we go. Download it. So it's very simple. You just download. This is an e-commerce one, actually, just as an example. You download it, excuse me, and then obviously you'd save the file. You save the file wherever you want it to be. Generally save it in the downloads folder of your computer. I'm not going to download it because I don't actually want it. I just wanted to give you an example of a theme. Now what you then do is come back to appearances, go back to themes, and then you then come to installed themes as you did previously. And as opposed to searching for a theme this time or clicking any of these, you just come to upload there. And then you'd then browse for the file you've just downloaded. I'm going to click on that. I'm not going to upload that either. And then you'd install it. You'd install now, and then that would install the theme. It would be one of your installed themes, and then you could then use it. So I just wanted to show you that because that's really, really useful. Now, as I said before, whatever theme you get, it's always useful to get a custom banner added in, and that banner is basically makes it personalized to your site. So you'd have a custom theme which looks nice. So for example, we've got this custom theme, just to remind you, on our site, but it's got it's got the mobile phone. What you want to do is you want to replace that with your own theme. And what you do there is you can either, if you've got a graphic designer, get a graphic designer to do it and then just upload it, which is easy. If you haven't got a graphic designer, and you know we're all about giving you simple things that you can basically action immediately. If you haven't got a graphic designer, there's a site called Fiverr.com. Don't worry about that because I'll actually put the link below the replay. It's called Fiverr.com because everything on it is $5 and you will find some amazing things on it. And one of the things you'll find on it is graphic designers. So all you do is you go to Fiverr.com, it'll ask you to search for what you're looking for. You'll look for graphic designer or banner header or custom banner design, and you'll have a list of people who will then design you one for $5. The great thing about all these sites, they're in dollars, so it's even cheaper for us in the UK. So yeah, go to Fiverr.com, create a banner, and then you'll have a great custom-made banner, and it won't break the bank in the slightest. So that's your theme done. So let's now move back to the presentation, and we were talking about pages versus posts. We have to look at, okay, so what's the difference between a page and a post? Well, a page is basically something that is static. It's something about the business which is not going to change over a short period of time. So it's things like about us, it's things like contact us. And what we always suggest to people is that each page should be one of your keywords. So ideally, you know, you've got the about us, you've got the contact us, you want about 3 or 4 or 5 other pages which are around your keywords. So in my example, when we're talking about Octagon Wealth, then one of the pages would be possibly pension management, the other page would be retirement planning, for example. So you want to ensure that, again, what you're doing is encouraging Google to rank you and see actually this site is sectioned off in the right information. People have been able to find the relevant information very quickly. So that's what a page is. A post is effectively something that is much more immediate, something that's changing on a regular basis, information that you're updating. That's what you're really doing to draw people towards your personality. So it's something that you're going to update on a weekly basis. It's a blog, for example, that you're updating on a weekly basis. And then what you have in a post is that we'll put post categories in. And if you recall, we said that when we were looking at the writing segment, then you could determine what the default category was, and we said that the default category, we were going to change it to one of the keywords. So with regards to post categories, you try as much as possible to get all your keywords as the category. So you'd have pensions, you'd have retirement planning, wealth management as your categories, and that then again helps achieve that ranking within Google and Bing as well. So let's nip back to where we were. So we'll just do exactly what we're talking about. So what we're going to do this week is just create some pages and some posts. We're not actually going to create the information. I just want to show you how to create a page, because next week when we start talking about the content, and the content is king, that's when we'll start doing that. So as with everything, come here, add new, and you can add new in several different places. Now what we said we're going to do is we're going to have about us, excuse me, and then all you do is publish. So that's now a new page. Then you add another one, add new. And then as I said, we want to have some retirement planning. So that's retirement, yep. So you publish that, that's a new page. So that's been created. Then add another one, which is pension management. Create that one and just press publish. And then once you've done it, it will change. This button will change to update because you've obviously created the page. It's been published. So when you then add in information, you just click update there. And then the last one, always, always, always have a contact us page, because you want to make sure that people find it super easy to get hold of you. So contact us page, and then you made it. Okay, yeah, so we've now created those pages. If you go back to here, I've actually changed the theme back to the default theme because it's just easier to see everything. So if you go back to the site, And this is how easy, because I changed the theme back. So if you go back to the site, you've seen now about us, contact us, pension management, retirement planning. There's obviously nothing in there. So you then go back to the dashboard, and then we'll do exactly the same with regards to posts. So you just click on there, you add a post, add a new post, or you can add a new post here. Actually, before I do that, let me just add in some categories, because then you can set the post to the category. So what we said was we'd add some categories. Pension management we're going to add, and then the slug down here is effectively just how it looks in the URL. So you got a team with that. Oh, sorry, pension management. Oh, I've already put here's one I prepared earlier. So I've already put pension management in there, and then we have retirement planning. And there we go. So you've got retirement planning, pension management, and as I said, you just add these in until you had your categories that you wanted. I think I've already set it, but then you'd go here, if you go to writing settings, and then you would change that default post category from uncategorized to whichever is going to be your most popular post, which is going to be pension management. Then you come down here, click on save, and then you've saved the categories. We will then go back to posts. You say add a new post in there, and let's call the post wealth management at its best, or something like that nature. So you go into wealth management at its best. So that's just a post. You then scroll down here to see which category it fits in. Let's say retirement planning. And then you can add a tag. So again, you want the tags to be around your keyword. So pension management, add one in there, and then you can add in another one, retirement planning, and you can add in several, because obviously you've got lots of different keywords. You've got your top 5, and then you've got others. Tags just allows you to then start saying, okay, we know that it's in the category of pension management. Start adding tags to give specific keywords around what it might be. Might be pension management in Manchester, might be best IFAs in Manchester, etc. So you've got an opportunity to add some additional tags on there, and then you just press publish once that's all done, and then that post will then be published. And as I said before, make sure that you set the categories to that. Now, we're not going to go into this week in terms of what do you actually write in the post, what do you actually write on the pages. I just want to show you how to actually set up a page and the post, which we've done. We're then going to now talk a bit more about plugins. So let's just go back to the slides. So what is a plugin is always the first question. A plugin basically is just something that WordPress have designed which allows you to increase usability. When you start your page, there'll be a plugin, I think I've already deleted it, called Hello Dolly. I'll just delete that, so don't worry about that. And then there's a variety of standard plugins, which I would say every time you create a blog, add these specific plugins in. The first one is header and footer, which just allows you to take code that people ask you to add in. So a lot of times people will say, well, if you want to link your page to Google Plus, you need this code in the header. And in the old days, you'd have to know exactly where to put the code in the header, and you'd probably mess up the site if you don't understand coding. This header and footer plugin just allows you to take the code they've given you, cut and paste it into the header or the footer, and then away you go. You've got nothing further to do. Then you've got all-in-one SEO plugin, which is great, which just allows your site to be indexed more easily. And once you go in there, it's very, very simple. It allows you to put a title in there. It allows you to put in what the description of what that particular post is about, and it just means that it makes it more visible to Google. You then have contact form 7, which we've made a contact us page you saw, but then you want a contact form on there rather than having complex coding. There's a specific plugin which allows you just to create a contact form really easily, which I'll show you. Then Google XML sitemaps, don't need to know much about that, but it's just about the structure of the site. It allows Google to index your site. You don't really have to do anything once you've uploaded it. You just stick it on there, and Google, or should I say, the site does the rest, and Google will look at it. Broken link checker, which allows the site to be checked for broken links which Google doesn't like. So, for example, if you're linked to a site and for whatever reason that site goes off the internet, it's closed down, or the domain expires or whatever, that will then come up as a broken link. And Google doesn't like broken links to your site. So what this does is it automatically checks your links that you've got from your site to other places, and then if that link is broken for whatever reason, it will tell you it's broken. You can check to see if that link, if there's a reason for that. If there is, and you can just re-establish the link, because it may just be something that's happened. But if not, and the site's no longer there, or it's down, then you can take that link off, and then Google won't penalize you for it. Last thing is Jetpack or Google Analytics. These are both plugins which allow you to measure the number of traffic to your site, who's coming to your site, where they're coming from, and so it's a really, really useful analytics package, and it means that you don't have to start cutting and pasting code all over your site again to make it really easy. The only other one that you can potentially put in is the SmartTube videos, smart YouTube videos. So if you put a lot of videos on there, it just makes it a bit nicer and easier to put them on. However, you can just cut and paste the normal YouTube video sort of like code anyway, the embed code that you get from a YouTube site. So it's really easy to do anyway, but there are other options out there. So let me just nip over to the site again so that we can actually see how you actually put in a plugin. Very, very simple, very similar to our friends when we were putting in the themes. Very similar layout. If you wanted to add a new one, you just click on there, add new. So let me just show you that. Actually, you just put add new, and exactly the same as the plugins. You would search here. So if I was searching for the header and footer, which is the one I mentioned earlier, you'd search the plugins, and it'll give you a list of all the header and footer ones. And you would just, I mean, I've already got it installed actually, but if I didn't have it installed, you just click it down here and install it. If you've already got one installed, you go to install plugins, which I'm going to go here. And what I want to show you is the contact form 7, and all of them, actually, or not all of them, but most of them, when they're loaded on, they don't activate them. Some of them do, but if they're not activated, then you have to click there and click activate. And then that'll just activate the plugin. And once the plugin is activated, you can then do something with it. Now, interestingly enough, don't ask me why, but some of them come here, so you have to look for them, and some of them drop down into the settings bar. So if I activated header and footer, then you'll see there's a difference in terms of where it goes. So the contact form goes here, but then some of them, don't understand why, go here. So you'd click on it down there. So let's go into the contact form 7, because I just want to show you something. So if you go into contact form 7, to change what's on the contact form, you go into this edit button here. Then you would just come down here and you change, this is again info Octagon. I'm going to change that because we changed it to support, didn't we? So let's change that to support@octagonwealth.com. That's from me, that's that information. But if you want to change it, then here you go. You'd say from your name, all the information is down here. If you want your message, you can put the information in there. But here is where you would then change it. So that says text your name, email, whatever the subject is, and you can change all these your message submits, and this is basically what your form is going to look like. If you want to change that, you'll change that to, if you didn't want it to say your name, you change it to, I don't know, whatever you want in your form, and then you put generate tag. That would then generate a different tag. But let's go with this one at the moment. You'd then copy and paste that, and remember we had a page which was called Contact Us. So you'd go into the Contact Us page, you'd click on here, and that's it. You paste that in there, and that will give you a contact form, a professionally built contact form. And that's what's great, as I said, about WordPress, that it's so simple. And then you say view page, that's your Contact Us page, that's Contact Us. You now can see your name, your email, subject. So those are all those things, and you can change the titles in that Contact 7 plugin. So it's really, really simple, and that's why we like WordPress. So in terms of the plugins, Let me just go back to plugins again just to show you the other one that we were talking about. That if you, just similar to the themes, if you wanted to add a new plugin and it wasn't in your search, you can either search on the premium plugins, just like we did for the themes. You would then download a theme, and then you just put upload here, and it will tell you to upload that particular plugin. Sorry, in this case, not theme. So you'd upload the plugin, and you just browse your desktop exactly as we did with the themes. You'll search for wherever your plugin is, then you just upload it, and then you'd have an uploaded theme, and then you just continue to work with it as you would anything else. The next one that we want to talk about is links, and I don't know if I've downloaded the links. Links used to be a standard plugin that we used to have attached, but let me just install plugins, and I've got links. Yeah, I've got link manager down here, so search for link manager and then activate that link manager. And what links does is then start giving you links to other sites, which is always good. And then you can have links to other websites, you can have links to your Google Places listing, and you get links to all your citation sites. So if you go into links, so you add a new link, really very simple. And I would say find us on, I don't know, 192.com. Okay, and then go into our little handy editor that we always have to hand, find your 192 listing, copy that, go back, oops, there it is, don't want that open, do not want that open, go back here, paste it in, and then you've added a link. And that leads us very nicely into the widgets. So let me just go back to the slide quickly. So we've done plugins, we've done the links. So that then leads us to going to widgets, because you've now created some links. It's okay, so where's those links going to appear? And that's where the widget comes in. Now, widgets, what is a widget? You have several different kinds of widgets. You have contact us widgets, you have links widgets, you have categories widgets, you have a whole raft of widgets actually. And basically what they do is just customize your site, so you can put links in the sidebar, you can put them in the footer, you can put contact us forms on there, you can put categories, you can put, you know, archived footage, etc. And it just links, it just basically puts it to the side or to the footer or something of that nature. And I'm going to come into that, and then we're also just going to talk about the menu, the top navigation menu and the drop down menu. There's different types of menus you can have. So all of these widgets and menus are really just to further customize your site. So let's just go in and show you how to create a widget. So very, very simple. Come down to your little friend appearance where you've been finding a lot of stuff. Click on widgets. Oh, there we go. So click on widgets. And then these are all the widgets that are there currently. So if I go into wealth management, you see search, recent posts, recent comments. If I go to the site, then you'll see, if I scroll down, you've got all that information, recent posts, recent comments, etc. So it can be in the sidebar, it can be in the bottom. It doesn't really matter. So let's go back to widgets. So if because that says appeared in the footer section of the site, so that's where it actually is. So if I take that, there it is. Oh, that's interesting. Why did it not let me do it? Okay, there we go. So if you take that, you can drag and drop. So if I make those inactive, which is what you're doing, this is what's great about it, as I said, you drag and drop that. Okay. And it tells you, depending on your theme, it will tell you exactly where it is. It says this one appears in the footer section of the site. If I now go back to that site, you saw that those widgets were in there. There's now nothing in those in the bottom of that site. Okay. So go back to the widgets area. And then what you want to do is you'll find, remember what we talked about? We talked about links. You find there's a nice little widget here called links. Drag and drop that into there. Press save. And the secondary widget area. Okay, in fact, what I'm going to do, because I think it'll look nicer if it's in the secondary widget area, which is to the side. Okay, so now that we've got that link in there, if you go back to the site, what you'll find is that you've then got it here quite nicely. Find us on 192.com. So you've set up your link. So let's go back to widgets. So the next thing that you want to do is add that form. So first thing, if you recall, let's go back to the contact form. Copy that code. Then go back to the widgets. Okay, so what you then want to do is take a text box. Hang on, let me open that up first, sorry. Then what you want to do is take a text box, just drag it over there, wherever you want it, whether you want it above or below. Actually, yeah. And then just say contact us. Contact us. Then in here, just paste that code. So you've saved it, and close that because you don't need that anymore. If you now go back to the page, what you'll see is that that contact form is now on there. And obviously, this looks like this because we haven't got the header in there and we haven't put all the information. Once you start adding the posts, etc., then you'll see a significant difference because this is supposed to be a post, so it would have writing on normally. All of this is, remember when we were saying the post name, etc., and the format the way it was. That's that. Then this is the tags that we put on, if you recall. So you've got all the tags. So that's great. And then you've got this, every page that you go to now, if you go on the contact us form, that information will be to the side. If you go onto the pension management form, that information will be to the side. If you go onto retirement, so that's the great thing about widgets, is that it gives you site-wide usability. So things that you want on every page, you can stick them on there. And with the contact us form, you can edit it just as we did previously, as we did on the contact us page. So that's really useful to make sure that you get you've now got your plugins added in, you've got your widgets and your links that you've put on, and then just the last thing I wanted to show you, if you go into appearance again and then you go into your menus, then what you have here is this shows you I've got a lot of different things there because I've been playing about with it, but basically this just shows you the menu that's showing. So you can create a new menu. We don't need to on this particular theme because it's automatically added in, but if you wanted a specific menu, you can then add a new menu with a different structure in there. If you want to remove pages, so if you wanted to remove that page, then you just come in here and you'd remove it, and then that then remove it from the actual menu that was being shown on the page. And there's loads of stuff you can do. It's really useful just to come and start, playing about with it. It's hard to break. And if you want to add a page here, you just add to menu here. So if I wanted to add that additionally, I've already added them, but if I wanted to add it, then you just click add to menu and it would move it across to that specific menu. But if you think back to what we've done, we've gone through the whole gamut. We've actually added from not having a domain name even, we have gone in, we have created a domain name, we've then added that to the hosting, we've then created a WordPress blog and a website. Once we've created that, we've then adjusted all the standard settings to make sure it functions well for us. Then we've added a theme, as we'd said. Once we've added a theme, then we've added some plugins, we've added in some links, and then we've added in some widgets to get a site. So you basically, under an hour, we've managed to build a WordPress blog. We haven't written the content yet, because we're going to do that next week, but it just shows you now with WordPress and having a hosting with a cPanel, etc., it's really not that difficult to actually build a whole site in a very short period of time. Of course, you can always outsource it to somebody. However, the reason why I've gone through that is because not everybody's got the finances to outsource it, and actually some people quite like taking the responsibility themselves. And this has just shown you really quickly how you can build a blog or a WordPress site in a very short period of time. So on to questions. Okay, so often asked, got a website already? Do you need to set up a blog site? Actually, that's a really good question. There's lots of websites that have the capability of adding blogs. So if you've had your website built by someone else and they've attached the functionality to the website to do a blog, well, that's where you'd probably start doing putting all the information. And if it's done on WordPress, you'd do it like that. If it's not done on WordPress, you'd have to speak to your web developer about how that you add information to your blog. But to be fair, most websites are pretty static, and I would always suggest that you have a website and then build a blog separately, because it just allows you to get in and just be making sure that you're not affecting your website, and the only thing you're dealing with is your blog. So yeah, that's a good question. And we're specifically talking about WordPress. Yeah, there's loads of other different software out there that you can use to build it, but we're focusing on WordPress specifically. Another one, is there a place where you can add subscribers to the newsletter? Subscribers to the site for the newsletter type of thing. Yes, you could do that, as we saw on the widgets. When we put the contact form in there, you can just change that contact form, and as opposed to saying, put your name, etc., you can actually change the title to subscribe to our newsletter, and then they put their name and their email in there. So you're just changing the title of it, and then once you get the email through, then you then send them out the newsletter. However, there's an easier way to do that using what we call an autoresponder. And there's plenty of autoresponders out there. And an autoresponder is simply, as it suggests, that when you are emailed, when they email you their email address, that makes sense, then automatically that autoresponder will send out whatever it is that you've asked it to send out, i.e. in this case it'd be a newsletter. So MailChimp is the one I always suggest people start with, because you get lots of free capacity. I think you can send up to 2,000 emails out for free with MailChimp, so that's really useful. But there's autoresponders such as Aweber, Constant Contact, loads of different ones. But a great thing about that is that you basically plug in what it is you want to be sent out when somebody subscribes or somebody puts their email address in, and it automatically sends it out. So you set it and forget it effectively. But again, if anyone wants any training or needs any help on that, give me a call or send me an email. And I will take one more that I've got down here. How safe is it to download a plugin? Well, it's very safe if you're getting it from WordPress, as I've shown you. There will be other plugins that maybe are not taken specifically from WordPress. What I always say, if it's got a WordPress authorized logo on it, then they're fine. You've got absolutely no problem. And most of them will. The way I've shown you, they'll all be WordPress authorized. But occasionally, you'll have some people offering you plugins through different forums, and that doesn't mean they're not safe because they haven't got a WordPress authorized logo on it. But what I always say in those circumstances is make sure you back up your site just in case there's any issues with it. And it's really easy to back it up, because as you'd expect, there's a plugin to back up your WordPress site, and all you do is go into that search box, press backup, and it will give you a list of different plugins for backup. So I would do that, and you shouldn't really have any issues after that. Okay, so those are the questions. If there's any further questions to be asked, just, as I always say, give me a call or email, and I'll make sure I get those answered. Let's move on to what you're going to be doing with your time this week. So starting from tomorrow, this is, i.e. day one, purchase a domain name and set up hosting. If you've already got a domain name, then obviously set up hosting. If you've already got the hosting, then you can move on to day two. Day two, set general settings and pick a theme. So do those settings, the writing, the categories, etc. Day three, add standard plugins. So add all those plugins that I mentioned and I've got on the slide, and then activate them all. Day four, create some links to other sites or the websites. I always actually link to Wikipedia if there's a keyword. Google tends to like the fact that you've linked out to sites that aren't always specifically about you. So the fact that you've gone to Wikipedia, or maybe even, I don't know, somewhere on Amazon or wherever it is, depending on your site, that obviously is related to your keyword but isn't about you, Google likes that as well. So yeah, create the links and then add to the widgets. Day 5, set up a contact us widget, as I showed you with the text and the contact form 7, and then create pages for 5 keywords. And then actually, if you've got this theme nowadays, you don't need to create a menu, but if there's a menu specifically you want to create and it's not the one that's showing, just create the menu. And then we're going to add all the content next week. So once again, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you now all know how to go off and create a WordPress blog. So by next week, we hope that you've set that up and you're going to be blogging away. So thanks very much, and I will see you next week.